I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. Oh, I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. You unravel me with a melody, and you surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, until all my fears are gone. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you've chosen me. Your love has called my name, and I've been born again to your family. Oh, your blood flows through my veins, and I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Oh, I am a child of God. And I'm no longer a slave.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to church. Welcome to life. How are we doing today? I'm so happy. I'm so glad to be in God's presence with you. Okay, so today, God has been so good. In fact, all through the month of October, God has been so good to us. We've been celebrating our 20th anniversary as a church. Isn't God awesome? And you know what? We've been running with the theme mercy and grace. Wow. God has been so good to the King's Assembly, and we're going to be continuing with that theme today. You know, I have this question. When we look at grace, what do you understand by grace? Okay, what comes to your mind, when you hear the word grace? Now, I could say that grace is free and undeserved favor, okay, unmerited divine assistance. All right, so looking at mercy and grace, we're going to be looking at a very lovely topic today: undeserved. Now, for us to look at undeserved, I want us to use this story, a beautiful story in the Bible, to describe undeserved, that's mercy and grace. And I'm going to be I want us to look at the prodigal son. All right, now let's look at it in a contemporary setting. Just imagine a young man, having a brother, having a loving father, a wealthy, responsible, loving father. He has been there for him through thick and thin, had helped him, trained him, and he's now, he at this point he feels that he has grown, and then he can now fend for himself or stand on his own. So he met his father. I told his father that, oh, I want to move to the next city, and I want to set up myself there, and just continue with life over there. So he told his father, out of out of my inheritance, okay, everything is planned for me, you built up for me as your son. I want you to give me my share so I can just move on. I've grown. Now, after he told his father that, his father said, okay, agreed to that and gave him his own share of his inheritance. And now, when he gave him his share of his inheritance, what happened? He actually moved to another city. And when he got there, he settled in. But did he invest in inheritance? No. What did he do? He went about, squandering it. He got into, a life of clubbing, life of smoking, so many negative things. Wow. In no distance time, his inheritance, because it wasn't being invested, it wasn't being saved, it wasn't being, put together, it was squandered. And by the time it got squandered, he didn't have money any longer. And that was how he started living, from hand to mouth, and started eating with the pigs. He found under the bridge and be begging for money. Like he practically didn't know what to do, because where he was coming from and where he is, we are just, two worlds apart. So what happened? One day he just remembered that instead of staying under this bridge and begging and then having to eat, food like a pig, and from the pig's, portion, why not go back to my father and ask him to accept me, even if it's to be a servant, because sincerely I've not been a son and I don't deserve to be a son. So what she did where undeserving comes in. He made up his mind, went back to his father, and what happened? His father saw him and accepted him. Now, just listen. Mercy is when it's just mercy is mercy is exactly what the father did for his son. So what did he do? He saw his son coming and he embraced him. Okay, he brought him in and he was so excited. He threw a lavish classic party for him. He ensured that everybody was involved. He killed the biggest cow, and he said, you know what, my son that was lost is back. Listen, his father didn't judge him. His father didn't disown him. Naturally, a father that had worked so hard and had been able to build that sort of empire and train his son must have been very disappointed and naturally should have disowned him. But his dad didn't do that. His dad practically was waiting for him to do a U-turn. And as soon as he came back, he embraced him. That is what mercy. And he didn't just end there, he went a step further to show him grace. Oh wow, I love this story. Like it's really it's really showing, you know, what mercy and grace can do in the life of somebody. So his father went ahead, to show him grace. And what was that? He showed him unmerited, undeserving favor by restoring him back as his son, and also restore him back, to whatever it is he felt he lost. Okay? So what do we call this? This is like father showing the son boundless love. And if you think about this kind of love, have you ever experienced it? Can you remember where it has been shown? Okay? So I'm going to link it with the love God has for us. Just like us and God, sometimes we don't really live up to the expectation He has for us. We don't really do the things we ought to do. And somehow God's boundless love has always kept us, and He has always consistently let His mercy and grace speak over our lives. All right. So we're going to looking at some truths and lessons from undeserved. Number one, mercy and grace, truth and lesson. Mercy and grace jointly illustrate God's boundless love for humanity. Number two, it says, the father's response to his wayward son reflects how God receives us with an open hand, okay? Offering forgiveness for our mistakes, which is mercy, okay? And showering us with blessings and favor and love, which is what grace, even though we don't deserve it. The next one says the Father's attitude invites us to acknowledge our own need for God's mercy and grace. Next one says we are also encouraged to show the same compassion and forgiveness to others. So when God shows us His boundless love, we are also supposed to show the next person, one another, such love. Then lastly, it says just as the Father is ready to forgive His Son's failure and welcome him back joyfully, so does God extend mercy and grace to all that want to turn back to Him. So I don't really know where you are in life or what you think you've done that can't be forgiven. I just want to remind you this morning that you can turn back, that God is ever willing and ready to accept you back. All right, so our memory verse is taken from 2 Corinthians 2 verse 9, and it says, but as it is written, eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor has it entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love Him. All right, so I'm going to be ending with this. Grace makes I'm going to be ending with this. Grace makes you have no struggle. So when the grace of God is in your life, He has a way of taking away the struggle. He has a way of helping you to learn easily. It's the Holy Spirit working in you to do, all right, of God's good pleasure. Now, then lastly, with God's grace, you gain things you don't deserve. All right, that we are living and so many other beautiful things in life that we have and we're enjoying and will still be enjoying. Naturally, maybe we would have said, oh, we don't deserve it, but the grace of God has qualified us and has made the undeserved to be deserving. So I'm going to be stopping there for this week and see you next week. And don't forget that God's mercy and grace is consistently available for you. Thank you. Bye.